Welcome back, listeners, to Sandman Stories Presents, a folklore podcast where I read you to sleep or until the next story. I'm your host, Dustin. Today we are back in the book of South African folklore written down by James A. HONEÉ. This is the final installment of this book. In the first story, Lion tries to catch a little fox but can't. And in the second and third stories, death comes to men. Okay, let's begin. Story number 1. Lion's Defeat. The wild animals, it is said, were once assembled at Lion's. While Lion was asleep, Jackal persuaded Little Fox to twist a rope of ostrich tendons in order to play a trick on Lion. They took ostrich tendons, twisted them into a rope, and fastened the rope to the lion's tail, and they tied the other end of the rope to a shrub. When Lion awoke and saw that he was tied up, he became very angry, and called all the animals together. When they had assembled, Lion said, using this form of conjuration, "What child of his mother and father's love, whose mother and father's love has tied me?" Then the animal that was asked first answered so, "I, child of my mother and father's love, I, mother and father's love, have not done it." All of the animals answered the same, but when he asked Little Fox said, "I, child of my mother and my father's love, I, mother and father's love, have tied you." Then Lion tore the rope and ran after Little Fox, but Jackal said, "My boy, you son of lean Mrs. Fox, you will never get caught." Truly Lion could not catch Little Fox, so he had to give up. The end. Okay, and story number 2. The Origin of Death. The moon once sent an insect to men, saying, "Go to men and tell them, as I die, so shall you die. As I come back, so shall you come back." The insect started with the message, but while he was on his way, he was overtaken by the Hare, who asked, "What errand are you running? You look very busy." The insect answered, "I am sent by the moon to tell men that as she dies, they shall also die." The Hare said, "As you are an awkward runner, let me go and tell the men." With these words off he ran, and when he reached men, he said, "I am sent by the moon to tell you, as I die, in the same manner, so shall you die, and come wholly to an end." Then the Hare returned to the moon, and told her what he had said to men. The moon reproached him angrily, telling him, "Dare you tell the people a thing which I have not said?" With these words she took up a piece of wood and struck him on the nose, and since that day, Hare's nose has been slit. The end. Okay, and story number 3, a Zulu version of the same story. God, Nkulu, arose from beneath where the seat of the spiritual world is, and in the beginning created men, animals, and all things. He then sent for the Chameleon and said, "Go, Chameleon, and tell men that they shall not die." The Chameleon went, but it walked slowly, and it loitered on the way, eating a shrub called bukwebezane. When it had gone away for some time, God sent the Salamander after it, ordering him to make haste and tell men that they should die. The Salamander went on his way with this message, outran the Chameleon, and arriving first where the men were, told them that they must die. Thus death came to mankind. The end. I liked in the first story that it was essentially just Fox messing with him and that's the entire story. Maybe Lion will get his revenge someday. And with the second and third stories, I liked these two versions. There were more, but they were not so clear, and some were shorter stubs of the same story. Seeing how death comes is a common theme in folk tales. It is sad and fun all at the same time. And this is the end of this book, but do not fear, I have many more to replace it with. Although I'm trying to get down to just 8 books at a time, thus one story from each place every other month. And the podcast shoutout is to the British History Podcast. Hosted by Jamie and produced by Z, the BHP takes you through the history of the Isles. Currently, William the Conqueror has just kicked the bucket, and folks are trying to see who will get which crown. It looks like it will get messy for Will's kids. And so if you like the show as much as I do, go and give it a like, a rating, and a review. And the listener shoutout is to Olathe, Kansas. Olathe is the county seat of Johnson County, Kansas. It is the 4th most populous city in both the Kansas City metropolitan area and the state of Kansas, with a 2020 population of 141,290. One of a few famous people from this town is George Washington Carver, famous inventor, scientist, and professor. And since the name of the city, according to legend, comes from the settler asking his Shawnee translator how to say beautiful in Shawnee, I will do my sign-off in Shawnee. To my listeners in Olathe, Ni Yahweh and Ni Pako. Thank you, and you all go to sleep.